You know, I'm actually the ToppVolley table tennis champion.
You are?
Yeah, we have a tournament every year with every student, every teacher, every coach.
Okay.
At ToppVolley, it's a big deal.
That's amazing. For hand-eye coordination?
I don't know. I think it's just for fun before Christmas, but it's
okay.
In every in between classes we play ping pong.
Okay, that's awesome.
Everyone is quite good.
So the school I went to in Sweden had ping pong tables, but we didn't have rackets.
Ah.
So we always played with hands.
Yeah. And volleyball?
No, with a ping pong ball.
Okay.
And with hands.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, I used to use my backhand quite often. Like, it doesn't make sense, but I learned how to do it.
Yeah.
So even still today, when I play spike ball, have you ever played spike ball?
No. But
do you know what it is? It's like this trampoline volleyball. I end up using my backhand a lot.
Spike ball, sorry, yeah, I played spike ball.
Yeah, you played it, yeah. I always end up like, just by habit, like using my backhand in this game. Just because we played it so much when we were kids. But yes, that was a perfect intro. Welcome to the Learn Beach Volleyball Fast podcast. I am Alex, I'm the host, and we have a guest here today. Before we go into who he is, I'm gonna say that one of my main philosophies with the Learn Beach Volleyball Fast project is that whether we're trying to learn volleyball or beach volleyball or something else in life, I think it's a good idea to every now and then try something new and not assume that you know the best ways to do everything. And that's what I'm doing here now, because normally I tend to record an episode and then afterwards I record an intro, an outro, and then I edit them in. But let's see if I can make this happen.
Yeah.
So we have Leon guesting us today, and we're gonna talk about should I call it ToppVolley or should I call it Hogwarts? I think the Volley Vikings, the Norwegians, they made a YouTube video about it, and I think this is why basically the world knows about this school.
Yeah, I agree.
It got quite a few likes. I should link it in the description for this episode.
Yeah, it's a great video showing everything.
Mm-hmm, exactly. And I met you here. When was it? A bit over a week ago.
Yeah, I think so.
And we've been playing and training a little bit, and I realized, because you just graduated from there.
Yes.
Half a year ago?
Yeah, half a year ago, or right before the summer. So just 3-4 months ago.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nice.
In June.
Nice. So I was thinking it might become a very interesting podcast episode to just like
talk about it,
like what was your experience there and what have you learned and what do you think? I mean, it has this, I believe it has in the world this kind of Hogwarts what do you call it? Not rumor, it's like what people think about it.
Yeah, everyone knows about it somehow, and I've heard about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's my experience also.
So it would be fun to just dive into your brain and see what you guys experienced there and what you think and what you learn and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But what about we first take a little quick. So you just graduated from there.
Yeah.
I wrote down that you play on a Norwegian tour.
Yep.
How old are you?
19.
19.
Yes.
Probably the youngest guest on the podcast.
Yeah, okay, that's cool. That's cool.
When did you start playing volleyball?
When I was 8 years old.
8 years?
Yeah, so it's been a while.
Through family or?
It was in my town. We had a beach volleyball, a summer camp.
Okay.
And I just joined because of some of my friends joined.
Okay.
And I liked it, and I developed quickly, I think.
Okay.
After when I was quite young, so I was learning fast when I was very young.
Okay, that's nice.
And then I got addicted, like most of us, you know.
You caught the bug.
Yeah.
Okay. When did you get addicted? How fast did that happen?
You know, it's funny. I was very serious when I was young, so the first 6 months when I was training from like 8-9 years old, I wanted to quit because it was not so serious.
Okay.
And in practice, because we were not training hard enough.
Okay.
So I said to my parents that I don't want to do it anymore because they're playing in practice and I want to like, and they said, okay, just listen to the coach for the next year.
Mm-hmm.
And if you still don't like it, then you can quit. And I listened to the coach and I developed a lot in my early years. And then I took the step to the older guys, the older boys, like under 17, under 15.
Okay.
And then it was more fun.
Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, so that's actually quite funny because I mostly coach adults when I coach. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I coach kids.
Yeah.
Because someone calls me, hey, can you take this?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, fine. It's and I think it's an interesting challenge, but that's not what I'm mainly focused on.
Yeah.
But mainly my philosophy with coaching kids is make them addicted. Mm-hmm. Make sure they have fun, so they get addicted. Mm-hmm. So the main focus is not necessarily to teach them a lot.
Yeah.
It's more about making them have fun so that they get addicted. Exactly, and once they start to ask questions, how do I do this? Why does not this work? How can I serve over them? How can I? Then you start teaching them.
I think that's a good strategy.
But it almost sounds like you were the opposite.
Yeah, for me it didn't work so well. When I saw like these kids building sand castles in practice in beach, I was calling the trainer. I said, "This cannot be." So I think I was a strange kid in that way.
Yeah, well, I guess it depends on if it's that far that the other kids are building sandcastles, then maybe.
We were 8 years old, so we were kids.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So, and then later, did you do other sports as a kid, or?
Actually not. I've been committed for a long time.
All the time, just beach volleyball? Indoor
beach
also,
volleyball.
Or just beach?
Yeah, indoor as well. So I play both.
Okay.
And also we do that at ToppVolley. So
yeah.
It's,
you played both because you played both before ToppVolley, or did you play both just because ToppVolley is a two-sport school, basically?
Both of them. So everyone in Norway, or almost everyone in Norway, play both when you are a youth, like when you're a junior. And also at ToppVolley you don't have a chance to select either beach volleyball or indoor. It's kind of part of their philosophy that you combine the both of them and that they complement each other. Okay. So in the indoor season you play a bit more indoor and we play games. And in the beach volley season you play more beach volleyball and prepare for the Norwegian tour and championships.
Okay, nice. So then when high school in Norway is, that's from
16,
17, 18, right?
Yeah.
3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same as in Sweden. Differs a little bit country to country. Yeah. Depending on where the listeners are from.
Yeah, that's right.
But so then you had to apply for the ToppVolley school.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about the school before you started there? What was the story? What was the expectation? Yeah,
so I had older family friends that went to ToppVolley, so I heard about how awesome it was, and it sounded like paradise for me. Okay. So I when I was I was quite young when I decided that I really wanted to go to ToppVolley. Okay. So for me it wasn't a question. I always knew that I wanted to go to ToppVolley. Okay. What was the question?
Basically, what was your? You never know what an experience is going to be like until you're there. What did you have thoughts about what it's going to be like? Yeah. Was it like that? Was it different?
I guess I thought it was going to be 3 very tough years where we were almost like a military okay. That was my expectations or what I thought, because I heard, and it is really hard, don't misunderstand. It's 2-3 practices every day, and it's you need to be disciplined, and in many ways. But I think maybe I didn't really understand what kind of discipline you had to be.
Okay.
But,
so it was a different type of discipline that you thought?
You need to be okay. So let me answer it with this.
Okay.
ToppVolley, you need to be good at 3 things. It's not only the volleyball part. So I think it's the training, it's the social life, and it's the school.
Okay.
So in ToppVolley, it's really important that you are a good person, that you socialize, and that you work good as a teammate and in class and in the dorms. That is a big part to be a good person. That is like one of the main morals in the school.
Okay.
And also you need to do good at school. If you don't make it on the exams, you can't go to ToppVolley the next year.
Okay.
You have to.
So you can get expelled in the middle of the 3 years?
Yeah, it's possible, but of course, the teachers try to make sure that doesn't happen, of course.
Yeah.
And also the teachers come with us if we travel to other countries, and that's one of the really good things that I don't think people know about. It's the school is very flexible, and they try to help all the athletes, because the athletes often go to national camps or play tournaments, and then they have a test the day after when they come home from a tournament, and the teachers are very good at adapting and giving more time or giving more classes. So the teachers at ToppVolley, big respect from me.
Okay, that's amazing. So do you know, was there so Moll and Sorum went to the school?
Yes.
Do you know, did they start playing well together before they graduated or after? Do you know?
Oh, that's a good question.
Were they a part of this, there had to be...
I'm not sure. I think they trained a bit together, but I didn't go to the school then, so I don't know if they trained every day together. Or I know that Christian Sorum is a bit older, so I guess he was maybe a bit better than Anders. I know Anders was not physically grown when he was a first grader.
Yeah.
And Christian Sorum was a third grader and one of the best in the school.
Yeah.
So I think there was a big difference. And then they played a junior national, or they played in a junior national team together and clicked, and you know the story from there.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. That makes sense. So they didn't necessarily go there together too much, except maybe 1 year or something.
Maybe they found each other there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Would you say that? So if we think about training, obviously we want to get better at beach volleyball in my case, or volleyball, whatever the case might be. Would you say there's many ways to approach this problem, to so to say, how to get better at this sport?
Yeah.
Would you say that there's a main philosophy in this school, that comes from the school part, or is it more like they have coaches and the coaches obviously have philosophies?
Yeah, that's a good question, because we have different coaches, obviously, in different years. They come in with different training styles and philosophies, of course.
Okay.
So I think it differs sometimes, but of course we have. I'm not sure if I can say that we have one kind of this is what we do, but we play, especially in beach volleyball. When I was there, we played tournaments every Thursday. We need to get good at playing beach volleyball. You need to play beach volleyball and not only do the drills. That was one philosophy.
Okay.
But I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I can say, because when I was there, there were some coaches, and earlier there were different coaches, and I don't know what they thought when I didn't go there.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. So there seems to be at least an emphasis on playing tournaments, and getting that experience.
Yeah.
The drills might differ depending on the coaches.
Yeah.
Did you go through a lot of different coaches during your 3 years?
Yeah, we had some different coaches. I had, I think it was very nice. Some coaches Jostein Olimstad is a coach that came like sometimes, and he wasn't like the set coach, but like every 6 months he would step in and he could give different advice than the coach that was there the entire time, because he could see you didn't improve at all at this part, or this was a major difference from the last time I saw you play, for example.
Yeah.
So that was very nice. And we had, when I was there, we had a German coach who had his style of training, and we had, at the end, we had the little brother of Christian Sørum, like Sander Sørum.
Yeah.
He's a really good beach coach, I think. And they all have different ways of teaching, but for me it worked.
And probably different things that they focus on.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, everyone has a bias about what they look at first, I guess.
But I know also the coaches, they are really good at talking to each other, and they have meetings every week, and I think it's very well organized what we try to do. So it's not like every day is a random drill. It's now we work on side out, for example, or this now we work on defense or attack or blocking drills. So it's not random that today we wake up and we just do a drill.
Yeah.
They are planning very well.
There's a plan and collaboration between the coaches, basically.
For sure.
That makes sense. That's cool. Did you play the tournaments very often also in indoor volleyball, or was it a beach tournament every Thursday, you said?
Yeah, so when I was a first grader, that was like my dream year, because I was a first grader and you had the older guys, and you got to play with the third graders when you're a first grader. That's pretty cool.
Okay.
And we had a beach tournament every Thursday, and every Friday we had an indoor tournament. Okay. So it was 2 days in a row with tournaments.
Okay.
And it was super fun, and all the boys were hyping up before the tournaments, and it was great for the fellowship. And everyone is very competitive at ToppVolley. Yeah. And we are competing all day, every day, about spots in the weekend game or everything. You know, it's like a very competitive environment, and I think that's also part of the philosophy at ToppVolley. You bring together a lot of the best youth from the different clubs in Norway, and then they get humbled. And then they understand, okay, I need to work because the other guy is actually much better than me. Or the third grader is much better than me. Okay. So
they get humble because they come from a background where they were maybe the best kid, but then they have to play against these older kids that are better, and all the other bests from all over the country.
You might think you are the best in your local club, and then you come and Marcus Mool is killing you in the first class.
And you realize that there's a lot more to the sport.
We really need to work here.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you can't see the map forward of possibilities, like you're just the best in your city or whatever, your friendship group, there's no real, there's no one showing you that it's... I mean, you can watch the pros on YouTube or TV or whatever, but I think you understand it much better when you actually experience it.
Yeah, and a part of ToppVolley, the culture is that you are not only training for yourself, you are training for the entire group, the family. A big thing for the coaches is that you cannot just skip practice because you had something to do. Okay. Because then you are destroying the practice for your teammates, because they rely on you to be there to make them better, and vice versa. I rely on you to be and wake up early to make me better. So we make each other better at ToppVolley, and that is a big philosophy at ToppVolley, that everyone make each other better, and together we take steps.
Yeah. It's like swords, making swords.
Yeah, for sure. And it's beautiful when you take the steps from first class, second class, and suddenly in third class you're in the elite team, and everyone is working together, and you can see the results. And or in the beach volleyball tournaments, you're climbing the list. And
okay. So was that something that they communicated clearly in the beginning? This is how we do it here. You are going to work, or was it just something that you just picked up over time?
it is very important that you always communicate. If you have pain somewhere and you cannot do practice normally, or if you cannot show up for practice, if you're sick or anything, you need to plan your entire year with the coaches, because the coaches are very good at planning, and they are making like drills for 16 persons, and if there is 15 guys there, then it messes up the drill, you know.
Yeah.
So it was well communicated, I think, and it's not cool to be the guy who is oversleeping.
No.
And then there was a couple of times where we had to do like push-ups or like drills until the guy had came, you know.
Okay.
So that is, it's not cool to be the guy who is running and has overslept and see all the guys just doing push-ups, and like you don't want to be that kid.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, you will be
Definitely.
a bit more on point next time.
Yeah.
If you see that happen.
Yeah.
Okay. So there was this whole culture, I guess, really made a like great camaraderie, like
definitely
feeling.
Yeah, we spoke to each other like we were brothers, and when the boss of ToppVolley is speaking, he's speaking like we are a ToppVolley family.
Okay.
And we are on a mission together.
Yeah.
And that is something that I really took from ToppVolley, that we are we're trying to do something together. And it's not every man for themselves.
Yeah.
Kind of. And that was very nice, I think.
Yeah.
Because we always we did, especially the boys in my class, we did everything together, you know. We were studying in school, and then we ate dinner, and then we went to practice, and then we socialized. Maybe we go for a swim, and then we have another practice. So all day, every day for 3 years, we are doing everything together, and it's very important that we have each other's backs.
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing that comes into my mind is I had some years ago a friend of mine. We did a 2-month, basically our own camp. So it was the two of us that practiced together a lot, and then we obviously during these 2 months we played against other people also. So but it was like we lived together, and the others just jumped in.
Yeah.
But what we had was, so obviously we didn't go to a volleyball school. We just organized this by ourselves. But we had a lot of discussions about volleyball. Like we would practice, but then we would also like just like sit on YouTube and like analyze together and like watch tutorial videos and like discuss them. And then we would come up with some ideas. Then the next day we would actually go and try them in practice. And then like evaluate over dinner, like, hey, did that work? Maybe we should try this instead. It was a constant back and forth type of dynamic between trying stuff on the court versus and also like analyzing more and discussing the things and refining the ideas. I learned a lot in those 2 months. Would you say that within your school this was also, do you know what a mastermind is?
Yeah.
A mastermind is basically a group of people that come together for helping each other to master something.
Yes.
So would you say that you guys had also a lot of volleyball discussions, like
absolutely
over dinner and whatnot?
And we also in the elite group in the last year we had like masterclass meetings, actually, where we analyzed footage from practice and tournaments and pro volleyball teams, and especially in indoor volleyball, because then it's more like making tactics and preparing for the game and everything. So I think our German coach was really good at this. He took all the boys and said, okay, you see this is what we need to work on. And then we took what we were talking about to practice, and after practice we talk about it. And so it was a lot of communication and talk about volleyball for sure.
Yeah.
And also the coaches were often coming to dinner or evening food and talking about, or just talking with us, and then we were like talk about the practice or talk about what I need to do to improve.
Yeah.
So for sure, I think it's a place where you talk volleyball every single day, and you sometimes I think people also get a bit tired of the volley talk because it's every day all the time.
Yeah. So it can't get too much.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just needed a break.
Was there a code word for no volleyball talk?
I don't know. It was locking your room and putting on music.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. And it's both guys and girls.
Yeah.
Right.
50-50.
Do you also play sometimes with the girls, or were the practices and games always separate?
It was always separated.
Always separate.
We had like
never any mixed co-ed games, anything like that.
A couple of times we played like mixed tournaments, but that was more for, I think, for bonding and socializing than the actual training. Yeah. Like what we get out of it. But for sure we did that a couple of times. We had mixed tournaments and it was really fun.
Yeah. But school classes you had mixed with them?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't like, oh, those over there.
No. And we were a lot with the girls, and also we had strength training often with the girls, and basic mobility and running and all sorts of drills. We often did with the girls.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So what would be like an average day?
An average day?
Yeah. What does it look like?
Okay.
Does it vary from year to year?
Yeah, it's a progression in the load that you can manage often, because when you're 16 you're not as developed as a 19-year-old that have been training for 3 years.
So they push you harder in third year? Yeah.
It's a bit different, but it's not that big a difference.
Okay.
So yeah, I can say you wake up in your room and then you have breakfast. It opens at 6:30, so you need to wake up early and you eat, meet the guys, you pack some lunch, and then you head to strength training or beach volleyball. It's maybe strength training, and then we have a meeting what we want to do in the strength training. And often if something have happened, then the strength coach would tell us that we need to clean up this place, it's not looking good enough, or he was always like giving us things to do. And we had strength training, and then we went right to volleyball practice for 1 hour in the morning, and then it was more like technique, not so much games, was more like drills and working on stuff. Yeah. So we had strength training and volleyball practice, and then we were run to the shower and pack our school bags. We go to school and we have a couple of hours, and then 11:30 we have dinner. So that's quite early dinner, but when you have 2 practices you are very hungry.
Okay. 11:30, so at lunch it's dinner?
Yeah, it's like a dinner. You have a full-on meat, vegetables, everything in 11:30. 30 minutes.
Now I remember.
Yeah.
Norwegians, you eat sandwiches for lunch.
For
like
lunch?
in general, Norwegians. Yes, because
sure.
In every other country, lunch is dinner food.
Yeah. That's true.
Oh, this makes sense.
So I
because I was like, why is he so stoked about eating food for lunch?
Yeah.
Now I remember. Okay.
Makes sense.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree totally.
So I'm from Sweden. I've lived in Norway quite a lot, and we're always like, why are these guys eating so many sandwiches for lunch? Like
I was eating too much. It was crazy. I took a whole bread every day almost.
Yeah. Okay. So you had. Sorry for interrupting.
No.
So lunch 11:30.
11:30 until 12, and then we have 2 or 3 more classes.
Okay.
So then a full day of school, and then we have 30 or 40 minutes, or sometimes only 20 minutes until practice starts again.
Okay.
And then it's beach or indoor.
In the evening. In
the evening, yeah.
Is
or
that
right after school often, so that we have the evening to rest and recover.
Okay.
And then I often went to the sauna and recovered and ate some more food. And then you have evening food also at the end. Okay. And then you need to do some homework, or you often watch some games or whatever you do to socialize.
Yeah.
And you do it all over again.
Makes sense.
That's one day, and of course, some days we have tournaments. Sometimes we have off because we are playing games in the weekend, or we played games. Some days we only do strength because we played a tournament. And,
yeah.
So it's adapting to the load. It's a very they try to do load management very well, because it's like more than 20 hours of intense training every week for everyone, and often you do something extra in the weekend also, or we are young, maybe we don't sleep enough, you know.
Yeah.
So they try to take care of that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. That was my next question. Like, how is it with overtraining? Like, does it happen to people? Do people get injured?
For sure, people get injured at ToppVolley. That's it's almost not impossible to not have people get injured when you are trying to do it like this.
Yeah.
But we have a strength coach who is making good plans for us.
Yeah.
And we try to get back as soon as possible. But of course, to be injured at ToppVolley is kind of a nightmare. Because
you're seeing everyone else practice.
Everyone is practicing all the time, and you are in this area of Norway with no city. There's nothing there, kind of. It's like ToppVolley and like a fjord and a small like store, and so that's not where you want to be and do nothing.
No.
And I had my first half year. I was injured and couldn't do ball practice.
Okay.
And it was tough.
Yeah. A lot of analyzing.
A lot of analyzing, and I could run, so I would run on a treadmill while everyone was training. I would just look at them and run and see myself like I could do that better, and I'm gonna do that better when I come back.
Okay.
So yeah, it was. But I know it's hard for a lot of people to be sick, and if something in your family happen while you're at ToppVolley, it's hard because you're far away from everything and everyone.
Yeah. Do you think you learned something from this injury period that you wouldn't have learned otherwise?
Definitely. Yeah, it's when I grew a lot in my self-esteem. I had to work on myself a lot in this period.
To handle it mentally? To
handle it, and also to do the work to come back. I lost 2 valuable years of my junior prime when I was doing well in the junior national team and junior championships.
Okay.
And I had to give my spot on the national team to a friend of mine, and I couldn't do anything for a long time.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, it was tough. So.
Can I ask what injury?
Yeah, I had a fracture in my spine, in my back.
Okay.
And also I had what's it called in my knees? Jumper's knee.
Jumper's knee. Yeah.
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 That was the two, and they were combined at the same, right after each other.
Okay. Yeah.
So that was a long period.
Yeah, that's not fun. No. But you eventually fixed.
Yeah, I did it. I got a very strict plan, and I followed it like crazy, and all the coaches were backing me.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
and
good.
Then I came back, and I started on the lowest rank, and I climbed myself up.
Okay.
So yeah.
Nice. That's good work. That's good. I'm gonna give you a code word. I talked about code words before. If you knock on the table, we take a water break. Okay. If you need water, because I forgot to organize that before. Okay. Did the strength coaches, before people got injured, was there work to prevent injuries?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. So the best way I think I could say the philosophy is you need to be strong to prevent injuries.
Yeah.
You need to do heavy lifting also, not only the bands. And so it was a lot of squatting, pull-ups, and balance, and you need to be strong in your entire body. And a lot of the exercises with you need to be stable, or weights in bands, and you need to really have control over your body. So,
okay, so a lot of this jiggly wobbly.
And that's also complementing volleyball, because you're doing all sorts of movements in.
Yeah.
You need to have control in your, like, being in a outstretched position, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think our strength coach really did well, and I also think that they got feedback in my 3 years, and that they did even better in the last year when they started to plan even more, and also
feedback from the players.
Yeah, and also they see that people get injured, and well, then we need to do something.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think feedback and analyzing what is happening. If we have too many jumpers knee, maybe it's too much jumping in the practices.
Yeah.
So then maybe in low season we do more drills or
Yeah, makes sense.
Adapting.
Makes sense. So there was emphasis. I start believing more and more the more I see injuries and the more I fix my own.
Mm-hmm.
I start believing more and more of range of motion and strength also in the extreme ranges of motion. So strength in the extreme positions basically.
Yeah.
But you said there was some of that also.
We did like in seasons or like in periods we did many reps, low reps. We did mobility or stability, a lot of core, and we went through like a season, body weight and lots of weight. And I think the philosophy is like we need everything. But of course the fundamental like squatting and like dips and like the basics, the deadlift and these kind of exercises are like fundamental.
Yeah.
For just being strong overall, and then we did a lot of extra work.
Absolutely.
And we also started to do like core exercise before every ball practice in my last year. I don't know why. Maybe it's to prevent more injuries and somehow to work on our core.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, those are interesting. I've seen that kind of stuff before, mostly from Gothenburg in Sweden.
Okay.
They have a big facility, but for me, it seems like they have a culture of like doing just some pure strength exercises in the warm up for a ball game, which I haven't seen in too many other places. But I think there's a point to that. How do you like to warm up? I like to do ugly pepper and joke around with the ball and laugh.
I don't know. I love to spend a lot of time. I like to come very early and to like get in the zone and then
by yourself at first?
Yeah, by myself, and then right before the game I like to not take it too seriously and just get a good feeling. So I do like serious pepper and just for fun pepper to get ball control and handling. And then like you're not so tense when you start the game.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, that's usually my main focus because I know that I play so much better when I'm in this. I call it almost like happy mode, but like a loose sort of quick reaction mode, and
it makes sense.
And for me, it's really the kind of fast and weird ball control stuff that makes me get in that mode. Yeah,
I think it's very important, and also for the younger players, it's such a build up for like a Norwegian championship or like your first game for ToppVolley, and the coach is on the side, and it's very tense, and you're there, and you're coming in from the bench, and it's very hard to not like shank the ball because you are like every muscle is very tense.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important to try to relax, take your shoulders down. Okay, it's just a normal game. I will do what I do in practice. And that is also like we don't do anything special in the game because we do it already in the practice. So we try to practice seriously and do the work in the practice so that we don't have to do anything extra in the game. So that is often why the coaches are like, come on, you can do more, you can do better, because then you will not have to do more and better in the game because you already are at that level.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Do you think there's a way to get in this loose and fun way if you don't have time to pepper before a game?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think if you are able to just breathe a bit and not like have to run onto the court, if you're able to breathe and like calm your body like physiologically, then I will not be so tense. But if I have to run and get the water bottles for my friend, and then I have to take my suit and everything,
and then you're a little bit sweaty, and
and the coach says, Leon, come on here, you're the captain and you need to sign here and whatever. Then I'm stressed, and then I'm supposed to do like a perfect reception, and then I kill against a double block, and it's
there's sweat on your sunglasses, and you're trying to fix it with your t-shirt, but the t-shirt is dirty at the same time you're listening to the instructions and whatnot. It's like
for sure. So it's very important, and that's also a thing that especially our German coach, he was very like, you need to plan before the game who is organizing the jerseys, who is organizing the warm-up, do we know what we're doing when we're coming there, is the net the right height. We don't need to do anything when we come to the game. Everything is prepared. So it's like this. We try to have this level of like we are doing a professional game. So often in the weekends, even though we don't play against other teams, we have like an intern game. We set up the net and we set up center court, and we can even do the streaming with like a commentator. We do statistics. To make the the stress kind of like the necessity for playing good. So it's not just like we practice Friday night and it's for fun. We have a weekend now. It's not like that.
Absolutely, that makes sense. I read this book. It's called Winning Ugly. It's a tennis book. From one of these guys that apparently, I haven't watched him play, but apparently he didn't have super good technique, but he still was making it on the Pro Tour. And he was just about all the tricks that you can play better by, even though you don't have the biggest hit or the most beautiful that and that. And one thing that he was very big on was just make sure that nothing can go wrong. Like you have your water balls, you have extra rackets, you have this and that, and you fix everything in time, and you really like schedule time the day before the tournament to fix these things, have a checklist, so that and to allow yourself, I mean, we talked about getting stressed, like that's something we want to avoid, to really like allow yourself to be able to be calm at the game moment, so you're not rushing right before.
That's something that I've heard a lot at ToppVolley. Just take away everything that is like a distraction in the day before or at the game. You don't want to have to lift. Even this was a very specific thing. We didn't want the guy who was serving to have to go and lift the ball from the ground and walk to the baseline. We wanted another guy to run and get the ball so that the server could just be at the baseline ready to get the serve and get the ball, and then the only thing he would do was to serve. So everyone that was at the bench was running and get the ball, and like, I give it to you, I got you, kind of.
So that it's like on a professional game with ball fetchers.
We didn't want the guy to like have any other thoughts than where to serve and like their routine and everything. And that was cool. I think that was helping, and everyone was really involved in that kind of like, we have to make it easy for him to do it good because we're a team and we want to win.
Interesting. There's a part of me that thinks you also have to know how to not do it, because a lot of tournaments don't have ball fetchers, and you will be fetching the ball yourself. But at the same time, I do see the point. Like, I think it's good to know both. We're
trying to get to the level where there is always ball fetchers.
Exactly. You're not planning to be stuck on the Norwegian tour.
No. That's it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Was there a bit back to the normal day question? Did you guys ever self-organize? Like, hey, should we play a game? Should we practice? Should we go and do a little bit of serve receive?
Definitely.
When did that happen in the day? Because the days were pretty packed, right?
They were pretty packed. I personally did it sometimes, like when I finally came back from the injury. I was like very like, I'm gonna do everything I can. So we woke up like really early and did it before the morning practice.
Okay.
Some people, because we have a student key, so we have the access, or we had the access. I don't know if it's will be this in many years, but when I went to ToppVolley, we had the key, and we could use the strength room, the beach hall, the indoor facilities, everything, so that we could just go in the evening and get do extra squatting or pull-ups if we wanted to work on our back or whatever, or serve reception. So I did that a lot. When I couldn't fully be on practice, but I could do something, I would always ask the guy, can you throw the ball to me? Then I will work on my setting in the evening after they had practice. And in my last year, we did a lot of like games in the weekend. When we had off weekends and people were going home, I had a far way to get home, so I always stayed and trained in the weekend. And then I asked 3 people, do you want to play like an official game? And I filmed it with my GoPro, and then I watched it after the game in my room. And that was maybe the best training in the entire week, I felt like, because it was a full-on game with very good guys, and it was super fun also. I had a great time taking the sound box, putting on music, and just going after it.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it takes time, but it's really good practice to have like a high-level game and record it, and then sit down and really analyze it.
We had the guys, and we had the facilities, and we had the time. So for us, the time at ToppVolley, I think it's a very easy time, sort of, to become a better player, because you have everything around you, and almost everyone wants to play. Everyone loves the game of volleyball. Of course, sometimes people are tired, as they should be after a full week of training. But if you're not, then you might say yes to an extra training, or some people would go crazy, and then we are young. We're lots of young guys and girls who just want to become better, and then sometimes we push it too far, and sometimes we don't. But we have to test the limits, I think.
Absolutely.
I think that's part of the progression.
It's a good place to test your limits.
And a lot of some people.
Because you don't lack things. You don't lack balls or courts or.
And sometimes the coaches would say no one is allowed to train in the weekend, because we had such a hard training weekend or week, and they had to make sure that we didn't overdo it. So
then you sneak away and play ping pong.
Then I sneak away and play ping pong, or ran up the mountain, or whatever. You know, we definitely trained a lot when I was at ToppVolley. It was a super good time. A lot of good memories.
Was there any weirdos that practiced by themselves in the middle of the night?
I guess
nobody knows, because
I know some people, like if you just walk by the strength room, you could see like people training in the dark, and I think sometimes people did it. And also it's like we learn about it in psychology. If you're angry or something is happening, it's good to get out your like emotions and things in a strength room. I definitely had that. Like if something bad was happening, then I went alone and went to the strength room. For example. So, and we had the access, and it was super easy to just go for it.
I can see the logic behind that. For sure. One more question about the time when you were injured. You said you were on the treadmill a lot. Did you do ball stuff also? Hand setting?
Hand setting. receive. In my case, I had like a long-term plan where it was like, okay, you can do 20 minutes 2 times a week, and then it was 20 minutes 3 times a week. It was
Okay.
40 minutes 2 times, and it was.
And
like
you followed this plan?
I followed it very strictly, and I asked the strength coach, how much can I do, and so I did as much as I humanly could, according to the doctors.
To the plan, yeah. Okay, nice. And you learned a lot during that period?
I learned a lot.
Did you have other kids at the school also injured in the same period?
Maybe. There's always a couple of guys who are injured, but different types of injuries, and they could, for example, play libero. They just couldn't jump, you know. But I had one guy who had this clock, and he said, because I had also like running drills that I did 2 times, like intervals that I was doing before the volleyball practice that I had to do, and there was guys who were helping me like run, stop, just because he was a good guy, a friend of mine.
Yeah.
So was really helpful. People
nice.
were backing me, and they knew that I really wanted to be on the court, and I think that made them maybe appreciate it a bit more, you know.
That's cool. This is it started off sort of like a joke, but I actually think it is a great idea.
Okay.
I haven't gotten to the point of this happening, but so sometimes people injure themselves and they're out of the game like for half a year or a year or 2 months or whatever it might be.
Yes.
So there's always beach volleyball communities. Like in my hometown, there's 300 people that play. So the joke was to have because there was like the elite group and there was like the special training group and whatever.
Yeah.
The joke was to have the rehab group.
Okay.
So partly to collect the injured people, because they often end up a little bit isolated, because they're like, oh, okay, my normal training group, they continue training, I'm injured, fuck, I'm alone. Yeah. But both to like collect them and possibly just go to the gym and do rehab together. Yeah. But also to run volleyball practices together of the parts that you can. Yeah. So let's say someone has a jumper's knee, they can't use their legs really, but they can do hand sitting reps without using their legs or whatever. And the other person has a shoulder problem, but they can still like hit with their left.
Yes.
So then they could like do like this almost like handicap injured practices together, and just make sure that, because it's a part of community, and you get some reps. You know, the one person can set the left arm of the other person. There's 3 persons, 4 persons, whatever. They can make, you know, because we're frustrated when we're injured.
Absolutely.
So I almost, it was a joke, and I don't think it has happened. Maybe some unofficial ones. I think I've been injured once and found another injured person, and we did something like this for a little bit. But like in a big volleyball community, like for example, ToppVolley, I don't know how many kids there are.
75, roughly.
If there was like a group chat, the injured group, maybe there's 1 or 2 or 3 at all times that are injured, and they could do stuff together. I don't know.
It's a cool idea. You know, I have a few things to say about it. If you, for example, search up ToppVolley, I think you will see like a clip of a girl in a wheelchair who had injured her knee like real bad. She couldn't practice for a long time. They were like doing setting drills in the wheelchair on the court, because the coaches, they also moved to ToppVolley often because they wanted to help the students get good at beach volleyball. So they are really committed to help the students like out of a bad situation and improve. So they were really flexible for me and for a lot of people. And I also remember it was a period, I think it was, I don't remember when it was, but we had this injured group where we were talking, like everyone who is injured were coming to the strength coach, and he was talking about load management, the way forward. We can ask questions to him, and we also did everything in the strength room that we could do. And I also remember I had this, in my last year, I broke these 2 fingers. I broke my 2 fingers in an elite game, or in a trip, an elite trip. And we made this like stiff thing around my fingers, and I could play. I could just not do hand setting, I could do beggar, and I could hit.
Yeah.
And I couldn't block, because then it would break. But I played almost every tournament, and I played the big ToppVolley beach volleyball tournament with broken fingers, because they were, as long as I didn't do these things, then I could play. So I joined practice even though I was like injured.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I think they're really like, they want you to come to practice.
Yeah.
And also if you are injured, well, I don't know if it's a rule still, but when I was there, you always had to show up to the lineup. So this was a big thing that even though, almost no matter what, you had to show up to the lineup.
Okay.
And lineup is before practice, we talk about the practice, and it's like a chance for the coach to say something to all the students or all the boys. To this weekend we have a game, we need to prepare this. Today we're working on this. I saw someone not going to bed early, for example, and like it's like a pulse in the day, the lineup. Mm-hmm. And every guy, even though you're injured, even though you have something,
you should be there.
You should be there, yeah.
Because it's important information.
Yeah.
To keep everyone in sync.
Yeah. So if you're injured, you come to practice.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't need to stay the entire time. Often the coach would say you have to help out and throw balls, or you have to sit here because I'm gonna talk about something important that you also need to learn, for example. So it was a lot of, I've definitely been on practice and just recorded for people and showed to the guy in the training, because the German coach wanted me to help them, even though I had broken my fingers.
And I think there's a lot to learn from that. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know about others, but I started coaching the sport partly because I figure out that every time I coach, I learn myself. Mm-hmm. More and more details about things.
Absolutely.
And just like sitting and being an extra coach when you're injured, I think it's a great idea. Like I think often I just for fun sit and watch things. Yeah. Like a beginner's practice or whatever it might be. Yeah. Because I find it stimulating. Yeah. And I tend to learn stuff. Was there I'm just coming out with ideas. Was there ever like, was there any coaching training in the school? Like, did they ever teach you to be a coach?
Yeah.
They did?
Actually. Third graders, everyone got like a first grade training degree. I don't know if it was a training degree, but it was like a course, training course.
The Norwegian first level 1.
Yeah. Yeah. So there was a coach coming, bringing all the third graders, and we were taught how to be coaches or trainers. Okay.
Did you also have to coach, for example, first graders or no?
No. I don't think we did that. Okay. Actually. But I guess a lot of the ToppVolley students get asked when they're at home to help in their local. So a lot of us have been training younger ones. Yeah. It's part of just being a volleyball player.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
absolutely. How big were the training groups?
Yeah.
Like when you trained?
That's a good question. It differs. So one thing I can say about ToppVolley is it's hard to say that ToppVolley is one thing, because they always try to adapt and learn. Mm-hmm. And they learn new things like recording and watch the recording, and maybe it's better to be smaller groups. So in my last year we tried out smaller groups. Okay. And like separating more the groups. And we had 3 groups for the boys indoor, and before we had 2 groups. Okay. 2 first years. I think I liked the 3 groups more, because then you have like the coach see you more. Mm-hmm. But it's definitely hard for the coach to have 3 practices, so then you would maybe need another coach, or it's like they experiment on us. What is the best way to do it, of course. So it's 45 guys, 45, 35. Yeah, something around that, and you split them in 2 or 3.
Yeah, makes sense.
And in the beach tournaments, we were always three groups. It was level 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
So then, you were.
And on a
60.
beach practice?
Sometimes you were many, sometimes you were less. In the morning, where it was technical, it was all the boys in the 3rd class, and sometimes if someone had to prepare for the indoor game and someone wasn't selected to the indoor game, then they play beach. Or if some guys were selected to the junior national team and played the under 19 World Championship or anything like that, then they play beach volleyball more for a period.
Mm-hmm.
So they were definitely adapting. And I had a couple of times in my last year where I was training just 4 guys.
Yeah.
And Alexander Söderm were serving and hitting balls, but often we are a lot of guys in the practice.
Yeah. There's 3 courts, beach courts there?
Yeah, in the winter, so indoor, it's in the indoor beach hall.
Yeah.
It's 3 courts.
And they also have outdoor beach volleyball courts?
We have 4 outdoor beach courts.
4 outdoor, okay, cool. On 70 people, you said?
Yeah, 75 roughly.
Yeah, that's probably enough.
Yeah, it's enough, and the girls practice indoor when we practice beach.
Okay.
So we have more than enough space.
Yeah.
Because
That's good. That's good. Is there more about the experience of going to this school that you would like to talk about? Like, do you know the people that founded the school?
Øyvind Marvik. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the founder. This guy is a brilliant guy. He's one of my role models, I would say.
Okay.
He is the leader, and he has this slogan that the school is all about. It's like the school is founded on the slogan. In Norwegian, it's "Maken skal ikke finnast." It's hard to translate, but it's
like
there should be nothing alike. It's
exactly. Yeah. There is nothing like this, basically.
Yeah, and every day we work towards this, that there is no other place like this, and also there's a lot of other, like, we want to be good people here, and we want to be hardworking people here. There's certain like morals and values that Øyvind Marvik, the founder, is selecting all of the students and reminding us that we are like a part of this family where we are working hard toward the goals together, and there should be nothing like this in other places.
Yeah.
So whenever if there's a bad situation coming up or something happen, then he would always be the guy to connect everyone and make it good again, kind of make everyone talk it out, and we start over or we continue together. So for me, his speeches were very important and very good. So he is kind of the anchor for the entire ToppVolley. He's doing a very big job also.
It sounds like a guy with a vision.
He has a vision,
with something that he believes in.
Yes,
and,
definitely.
And I like the fact that you said, like, they remind you guys that this is something special. This doesn't exist in other places.
Yes.
And that in itself is, I think, a huge takeaway. I mean, so sure, we're recording this episode, for example, because it's a unique school.
Yeah.
And I think people might be curious about it, but like, also that when you go to the school, you get reminded of that. I think that's very powerful, because there's something about the human mind when you realize like how cool it is that we get to do what we're doing.
Yeah.
There's something that clicks when we really start appreciating it. It's not just another thing that anyone can get. It's like, this is actually a moment that we're just super lucky to have.
Yeah. For me, it was really important to. I recorded a lot of what was happening because I knew that one day it will be over, and this is like the best years of my life, or like some of the best years of my life. It was like a dream coming true to move to a place and only play volleyball and get brothers from the entire country and train and play tournaments and everything. You know, it's what you dream of when you're a young kid, and then you get to do it, and you know that it's gonna end someday. And for me now it's finished, but I'm very grateful for my time there. And now I have connections and friends from all over Norway, and whenever there is a tournament now in Bergen or Oslo or wherever, I can call a friend and I can visit him, and we train together, and I stay there and we play.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's a big value.
Yeah, for sure. Going through something like this really tends to give you like a bond with the people that kind of never disappears.
Yeah. Everyone has like their own ownership to the ToppVolley, because you've been there and you formed it in a way, and it's also built a lot on the feedback from the students. So I think everyone that is leaving ToppVolley has a feel that they've been a part of something.
Yeah. Would you say it's the school's a co-creation rather than a top-down creation?
Yeah. The coaches, I think, after every practice is asking us how it was, what went good, what went bad. It's always this like dynamic of communication from the coach to the student, from the teacher to the also from the coach to the teacher, and from Øyvind Marvik. They have like, I always wanted to be there in the meeting, because it was so fascinating to me that the teacher and coach were talking together about me, because they wanted to see the whole picture about Leon. What is he doing? Is he serious in the class? Is he hardworking in school? And then the dorms, the people from the dorms, it's Rygjatun. It's like the people that make food for us and make sure that our rooms are okay, and they also, so it's like social and training and school, and they all have a meeting about me and every student, and then they discuss, okay, so he's slacking in school, and then the coach would say, but he's working really hard in practice, and then we have an issue, and then they need to talk to you and find a way to, okay, you can't play the game in the weekend if you don't do better in class, for example.
Interesting. Is there more that stands out about the school that we haven't touched on?
Oh, that's I don't know. It's for me, I love the school, so I can talk about it for a long time, but to be specific, I'm not so sure.
Yeah. Okay. I have a bunch of questions here also that are more about actually how to play beach volleyball.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll slowly start moving that way, and if we come up with something more, we can always jump back into the school part.
Go for it.
But this has been super interesting. So one thing I wanted to ask is, it's in between these two categories. Was there any training on how to proceed as a volleyball player or beach volleyball player after school? Like, you know, because...
Yeah, after high school.
Yeah, they throw you out in the world. Some people go on the world tour, some people go play indoor pro, some people play on the Norwegian tour, some people quit.
Yeah. So
some people become coaches. Was there any specific talk about, like...
I think they were talking about... now we have like taught you everything about like warm up, from training to tournaments to how to be a good teammate. You kind of get like an education in playing volleyball almost in your 3 years, and now it's like using your knowledge and try to put it into action in the real world. That is what I heard from the coaches. So they are trying to prepare you for the next level. That is their goal, but there is not like a like clear, like after ToppVolley you're going to do this.
No.
And that is for me been a bit hard because the next step is not so clear if you're not getting into any like special groups of continuing playing.
Yeah, makes sense. So you're now 6 months out of
ToppVolley, yeah.
Out of ToppVolley, out into the real world.
I'm in the real world. I'm not in my own country anymore, and I'm training with other guys, and I'm trying to work this thing out.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you, when you end up in other places than ToppVolley where things are not as easily accessible, we talked about before, you have the courts, you have the balls, you have the players, you have the coaches, you have everything set up for you, but when you don't have that, do you find that frustrating, or do you find it interesting, or do you find it how do you find that?
I find it interesting.
Or would you say you mostly had, even back in Norway after school, like you still had it pretty easy access to things, players, balls, courts?
After school, there were tons of tournaments. It was the beach volley season after I finished, so there wasn't like I haven't had like a real period of training.
Yeah.
Kind of after ToppVolley, because there was full season, and then I started traveling.
Yeah.
But I have a home club.
Yeah.
In Kristiansand. It's south part of Norway, and then there I can train almost every day.
Yeah.
So I'm lucky. It's possible, but it's not the same as ToppVolley, of course.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. We'll see what is coming in the next years.
Yeah, we'll see.
Because for me, as someone that started playing this as an adult I didn't have any contact network. Like, I mean, I was 24 when I started. You're now 5 years before that, and you already know basically everyone in Norway. You have the network that you have is completely different. For me, a big part of being able to get good at this sport has been to try to figure out how to get access to things, basically, to get access to players, get access to coaches, get access to courts. Yeah. Sometimes you're in places where there's not enough courts, and then it's fully booked, and maybe there's not people that want to train. Maybe some people want to train, but they want to train in a different way than you want, or what you think you need, and it's a whole web of complexities that I think makes this sport very tricky to learn. In some ways, a lot of the other sports I've done before were more like, sure, community sports, but individual sports like skateboarding and snowboarding. Like, you can just go out and practice. Like, you don't need someone to set you or serve you or whatever. Like you said, you guys were taught in the school that you are here for each other. Like, you need each other. Otherwise, it's not gonna work.
You can go and do it yourself, and also you can do it in the court yourself, because it's a team sport. Exactly. You have to be able to play with everyone, and that is also a big part.
And real world is people have so sorry to say real world, but like, people have jobs, people have commitments.
Definitely.
It's not like you can take just the people you want and just throw them into this box where they will just be available for your practice, because one day this guy is gonna go do that, and this one is gonna do that, and then you have to call someone else, and then that person doesn't know the drill or doesn't know what you're working on and whatnot. So it's like how to create something that resembles the ToppVolley experience outside of the it's like
that is a struggle. That is a big struggle, and I think as a former ToppVolley student, it's easier for me than for other people to talk to a guy that knows a guy that has a ball and court, and a friend who has a good teammate. For me, I've been lucky. Even now when I'm traveling, I can just show up at a beach volleyball, like in a beach, and there's someone playing beach volleyball, and I talk to them and I play against them, and they say, "Hey, I have a friend that you can play with," and suddenly I end up playing with you, and so I think a lot of the how to like be able to get a bigger network is to be open, social, and just show up and play beach volleyball, you know. And also if you're good and you show up and play with someone who is not that good, they will say, I know someone who is even better. Maybe you should try to. I have a contact, you know.
It's true. It's true.
It's everyone. Volleyball is not, or beach volleyball is not that big at least in Scandinavia and not in the world. So people know each other, and and then you can at least train, I think, or someone knows where to train. It's possible to work things around, but of course the hard part is to get to a level where you are good enough that people want to practice with you.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
a lot of people want a good enough practice.
Of course.
So if you are good enough, then and you are social, then I think you have come a long way, because then it's people want a good practice partner.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yep. And for me, something I've talked about many times before, but my strategy was, when I started playing, was to become a good setter first, because then at least someone could go and practice hitting with me, and then I would get good sets from them so I could practice hitting, because attacking is one of the most difficult ones to learn for people that start as an adult, and they just they're stuck with these partners that cannot set, so they cannot even get reps. So it's like, how can you even get better at something you can't get reps of? So and it's really like a self-destructing system. Like if you're stuck in that loop, like there's almost no way out, and that's what you can see also in a lot of adult players. Like they just simply don't become better attackers, no matter how many years they play. They do get better at attacking tactics. They figure out better ways to score with whatever technique they happen to have, but
the technique doesn't...
Exactly, it doesn't change. It can be the same for 10, 20 years.
Yeah, I understand.
So it's, it really has been an interesting journey for me to try to figure this sport out. Yeah,
I understand. We're in two completely different, you know. I started when I was 8, you're 24. And I understand.
Yeah. It's interesting. So one thing that we talked about yesterday when we talked about this was, you mentioned that you had every Thursday was a tournament.
Yeah.
And you said something that was really interesting for me as again, someone that hasn't played this as a child and I've had to prioritize different things. Let's say it that way. You said you played with almost a new partner every single week or something like this, and you had a crazy list of partners.
Of course. At ToppVolley, you need to be able to play with everyone. That's a part of their philosophy also, that you need to be a good teammate.
Yes.
And if you're a good teammate, then people would want to play with you. So in ToppVolley we have Thursdays. It's a beach volleyball tournament every weekend. We have all the boys are playing, divided in 3 groups. We have a ranking list, and if you win in group 1, you are the best in the school, kind of. And if you win in group 2, you can climb up to group 1. And if you lose in group 2, you go down to group 3. And it's like this whole... You never know who you will partner up with, but if you're in group 1, you partner up with someone in group 1. And in group 2, you partner up with someone in group 2 and 3.
So you get partnered up with them at the tournament.
At the tournament, yeah.
So you have no time to prepare.
No.
Okay.
At least that's been when I went to ToppVolley. That was how they did it. Sometimes they partner up if they wanted to see some different partners play, but that was very few times.
Okay.
Almost every time it's completely random, and you have to figure it out. If you're 2 defensive players playing against the 2-meter guys in the school, you need to make that tactics, and if you are the guy who is the best partner, then you will win the most games, because you don't know who you will play with. So for me, that was I tried to be a good teammate.
Yeah.
And it worked really well for me.
Okay.
In the ranking in the tournaments.
How is one a good teammate?
I think backing and understanding what kind of feedback is needed. If some people do not need that you say what they need to change all the time, and some people need to know, like, I see that you are early. Wait, or I can set you lower because I see that you are early, for example. Or I can say, like, I see that they are looking at your arm, or I can see what they are looking at with you, and just make it easier. Or sometimes I say, just listen to my call, or I don't know, I can help them out of a bad situation with just being not stressed and very like simple in a solution of what we need to do. Or I may be taking like, okay, we just serve him short, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Don't stress. I think a teammate is someone who is willing to put the other guy in front of themselves. You know, it's about us winning together. It's not about me, kind of. And you need that mindset when you're playing beach volleyball, especially if you're playing with a guy who is not at your level, or someone, if you are not getting served, then you need to make it easier for the other guy.
Yeah.
And maybe adapt your setting, even though you want to try to set like the high every time.
Yeah.
If the other guy needs a lower set, don't be like, make it harder for them.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of adapting to what the other guy needs, and also making good plans together, making them feel like we do this together, and okay, just go for it. If you have a good situation, be aggressive. If you hit out, it's okay, I won't blame you. Just try to be aggressive, and that's our plan, that you are aggressive.
Yeah.
Things like this is a good teammate, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. There's a type of flexibility that's needed. So this is what I tend to teach. I tend to teach that there's many different philosophies on how to play the game. Some people like the high sets, some people like quicker stuff, some people like systems, some people like to only do shots and hear where they should put it. Some people like to bang away, some people like to be more safe on the serve, some people like to go for the serve. There's many, and in various situations, like some people like on a short ball, they like to just like pick it up a little bit and then run something quick. Some people really think you should put it up high and back out from the net and do a full approach and whatnot. What I tend to teach is that there's many ways to do things, and we can talk about like pros and cons of each of them. Usually everything has something good about it and something less good about it. But the most important thing, since it's a team sport with two people, you two guys have to be on the same page. You have to be working the same fucking system, because if you're working one system and the other person is working another system, that's a sure, almost a guaranteed way to lose a game.
Yeah, absolutely. Even though you're the two best players in the school, maybe. You can play horrible together. You
can play 3-4 levels lower than your potential if if the systems are crashing.
And you could see that in the tournaments, that like good third graders would go down levels because they were not able to play well with the lesser good guy.
Okay.
And some would be in the group one all year around because they were always okay. We play together. Maybe I fake that I block, even though I'm a defensive player. I will try to block and make them think that I will block, and just stuff like this. It's a big difference.
So now I want to ask a question this is almost like an experiment. Since we started playing at such different ages, I can adapt to different playing styles. I can adapt to my partner, but a lot of what I do is very instinctual. So I struggle to adapt on the day. Like if for example, if let's say we were about to play together for a season and you wanted to play with high sets and I'm used to setting low. I know I can adapt to high sets if I get a few days to get used to it, so that my instincts start like, okay, in this situation, without even thinking, I'm gonna put it up high. But if my instincts from how I'm used to playing is to, in this situation, I just throw a quick one up. I really struggle changing this on the same day as I'm playing. So tournaments, like you mentioned, where you just get a random partner for the day, I tend to be really bad at, because I need like a few days to reprogram myself to get. But do you experience the same, or do you think you're more flexible than me?
I feel
and I'm completely fine if you think you are.
I think I think I'm more flexible. Maybe, and I'm very. I don't know, when you have so many years of ball handling, ball control, different types of drills and all this. I've been playing with so many different players. I can, okay, you want to go quick, I can set quick. If you want to go slow, I think I'm very flexible, and I think that's, for me personally, I think that's one of my best attributes, that I'm able to adapt. And so for me personally, maybe because we did so much of this in ToppVolley.
Probably.
I know how to play with everyone.
There's a lot of memory bank in your body of doing all these different things.
And also we train on, like, if I see that my attacker is running fast, then I better set him fast. I cannot set you high if I see that you're already on the run. Absolutely. So it's kind of understanding the game while you play it also. And I think this comes natural when you do lots of games in different situations.
Absolutely.
And some of our beach coaches have been like putting us in different situations and just letting us figure out how to play, or how to keep the ball alive, and how to get a hard attack if you get set from far behind, for example. We got a lot of different situations, and they didn't say how we should fix it, but they just let us try different things, and then, okay, when I get the ball, I should go hard middle, or I'm able to put a cut here, and they won't be ready for it. Or so we have tons of repetitions every day with like figuring out how to solve. Like
so practice could be like they put you in a situation and just figure this out. Like
it could be. It could be, and then you have maybe a more like set drill where, okay, we need to be precise. So you get 10 serves and you put it in the ring. That it could also be an exercise. So it's different, and I think also different coaches have more different philosophies. And maybe more of the beach coaches that I've had have been more playing more, like being game situation more. And then finding ways to kill the ball and keep the ball from the sand. More than indoor maybe, because indoor is so complex with all the different positions, and everyone has to know what we're trying to do here, you know.
Makes sense. It's so what comes into my mind is so when I was a kid, I also started when I was 8 with skateboarding and snowboarding. So I had my 8 to 24. I was skateboarding and snowboarding, and snow skating also, which is a hybrid combo. I think I'm speaking the truth when I say that I'm quite flexible within those sports to other types of, like, you know, like if it's similar to what I'm used to, but it's a little bit different, I think my body is like able to flex quite easily. But in beach volleyball, my whole, from the beginning, I was like trying to pull off something that I didn't even know if it was possible. Like the level I play at today, I did not know if it would ever be possible I would be able to reach, and I'm very happy that I've reached this level. But it has been a very sort of a race against the clock and like prioritizing. So I figured out, I might be wrong when I decided this, but I decided that I think it's better that I learn. Like my goal was to be able to play on a high level.
Yeah.
But that maybe I can't afford the time to learn to play on a high level in every different way that you can play on a high level.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to choose one of them, get good at that, and then find a partner that can play that style.
Is flexible, yeah. Maybe that's why we played good together now.
Well, yesterday when we played, I think I got to experience your flexibility because, I told you something about setting and you were able to change it, and I changed a little bit of what I was doing, and all of a sudden it started working.
Yeah.
Because the first practice we had together before we played the game, actually the game we played it was good, but the drills we did before, we played 3 or 4 or 5 levels below what we can play together.
I agree.
Because that was... I made a lot of errors there, but it was like 2 different systems not working together. But it was cool to see how, and that's also I think how we started talking about adaptation yesterday, because we sort of did it beforehand. I like to think about how humans learn. So now I have a new theory, which is that maybe it would still be possible for me, I'm 34 today, to learn to play good volleyball in more different systems and become more like you and have an easier time switching between them. Because, for example, this is a bit how I feel. Riding a bike, even if you haven't done it for a year or 2, you can just sit on it and you can do it. It sounds to me a little bit like even if you would play with high sets for a year or 2, someone asks for low sets, you can just switch and do it. Almost like riding a bike. Whereas for me, it's like I can do it, but I need 2 or 3 days to get used to the bike again. Because otherwise my instincts will be... But I wonder if the earlier learning or just the sheer amount of hours that you have spent learning different systems and different partners, which I haven't done. I see a very clear tendency in that the majority of my volleyball I played in, or the majority of my volleyball in the first years where I learned a lot was in my hometown. So, for example, how the people there set. So I believe it comes from some coach before because they all are quite similar. I kind of need that, if that makes sense, like just the body language and that kind of stuff, because that's how I learned to read a setter. And I can really struggle if I play even with good players from somewhere else in the world that does it a little bit differently, because I don't have that flexibility.
I understand.
But it's interesting. At the same time, I need to accept that, because if my goal is to try to prove that you can reach a specific level even as an adult, I still think that should be my priority, rather than prove that you can become that level -2 levels in many different ways as an adult, because no one's gonna care about that in a sense.
Why not just try to be as good as you can and find a partner that also knows how you like to set, and then you don't need to have all this adaptation.
Exactly.
For me, I haven't had like a stable partner in many years. So I played with tons of different partners, and then it's a good thing to, when you're trying to find a partner for the future, to be able to play with everyone.
Yes.
And for that, I'm happy that I had the background that I have with. Since I was 8 years old, with doing ball handling drills, and for many years we just stayed in the court in the weekend, and we just played 1 against 1, or 2 against 2 without jumping, because we had to save our knees or save our body. But we, in all sorts of situations, you learn how to not net when you're setting quick and hitting on 2 and everything.
Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely. But I do see a big weak point in me, which is when I happen to be in a new place or stuff are a little bit like unstable, like people are moving, coming, whatever, then because I have this sort of delay before I connect with a partner, I struggle connecting on the same day. And that often I think possibly makes people believe that I'm worse at playing volleyball than what I can be. Because that also matters. What they see on day one when you show up to the court matters, because it puts okay, this guy can play, this guy cannot play. And I think there might be times when there's more potential in me than when people see on day one, which is unfortunate for me if I want to get into the groups and get into the whatever. Usually over time I can prove myself, but I do see that there's a weak point in for me just as a player, because I have that. So I think there might be, even just for the reason that I could show up myself a little bit on day one when I come to a new place, might be worth it. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. One thing about this is in first class at ToppVolley, we do a lot of like ball handling drills to just get really good ball control, because not everyone, even if you get into ToppVolley, not everyone has the same background with since you were 8, or you might be playing mostly indoor for 2 years and you're physical and you have potential, and you get into ToppVolley and you're doing great in school and you haven't played beach so much before. So first class is a lot of beach and a lot of ball handling drills, and then you get good at the basic, like you have a good ball feeling, and then you go more into the specifics of side out and block defense and all of this. Just to put it in there, I remember Jetmin Berntsen was really like, you need to have a lot of repetitions in everything in first class. That
makes sense. And I can just anecdotally say that one of the things that I struggle a lot with service save. I'm still not the best at service save, but I struggled a lot. Like before. To the point that like me and everybody else was like, will he ever be able to play this sport well? One of the things that really I think helped me was ball control combined with juggling, like a lot of balls in the air at the same time, having to quickly look at one ball, react to another, this kind of just like coordination with arms type of stuff, because skateboarding, snowboarding, you don't use your arms much.
I see.
And I didn't do too many other like quick reaction things with my arms either as a kid. So those types of drills really felt like, for me, it felt like I was upgrading my brain. Because everyone before I did those drills always said, you need to relax, you need to relax, you need to relax. And I was like, I can't relax. That's just gonna make me slower. You need to be tense, kind of, but at the same time relaxed. But those drills basically taught me that, it taught me how to be relaxed, because they force you to be comfortable quick
in the uncomfortable situation.
And you get so many reps so quickly that it's like, because if you just get one service rep once a minute, and you get like 2 milliseconds of like, okay, there I had the chance to be relaxed, but I wasn't. Then you have no idea. But when you get like millions of them, just then you actually get more exposure to the feeling, and you're more able to notice what is happening with your tensions and stuff as those things happen.
A good drill, I think, for this that we loved. We want to do this like every day. It's called 2-ball. So we play with 2 balls, and until both balls are killed at the same time, then we're playing. And we would go for minutes. Especially if we couldn't jump, we would scream at each other, run, get the ball. And it was so fun because balls were everywhere all the time. And I think that was a good drill just to be aware of what's going on around you. And because it's so hard when the ball is, you get 2 balls at you at the same time. Okay, I need to kick one, I need to let's take the other one. And it's frustrating, but it was very like good just to keep the ball alive and understand who is available, where can I set, where should I put it, is the other guy running away and can I put it there? Or it was super fun, and we got good at it after a while, I think. So it was a good drill.
I agree. It's a really fun game. It's I tend to run it sometimes when I coach groups, and people love it. They always think it's fun. Yeah. And there's also a part of coaching a group and making them laugh a little bit. Like,
for sure. It's because funny drill.
But it's a good game. We can talk through it. Just for whoever doesn't know what 2-ball is, you serve. There's 2 teams. They both serve 1 ball at the same time, and then you keep playing volleyball with both. If I make a mistake, the other ball is still alive, and we still continue playing volleyball. One in the team has to go and get this ball that died.
And it's
either the same ball or any ball that's around the court. Depends a little bit.
We have the same ball.
Okay, always the same.
Always the same.
Yeah. So you can play it with different types of rules. But someone has to get the ball and then so the team has to keep this 1 ball alive, but then you go and serve the other one. So then there's again 2 balls. And if one team fucks up both balls simultaneously,
then there's a point, and we play too many points. So it can be a long game, or it can be finished really quick if you ace or things like this.
Did you guys in ToppVolley, did you use other balls than volleyballs?
Other balls than volleyballs?
Yes, like smaller balls, bigger balls, lighter balls, more heavy balls. Just to vary the input of the ball control.
Okay, that's a funny question. It's not something we commonly used. I will not say that, but there were a couple of drills we did with tennis balls and medicine balls, where we were like keeping the ball in the air, 1 ball in the air while playing volleyball, or just eye-hand coordination with the tennis ball. And I think the coaches also experiment on us on what is a good drill. And we do a lot of different types of training. And you need to move your legs, and we have like the medicine ball needs to go through my hands, so I need to be quick, and then we play the game. It's like different types of scenarios, and but we mostly use volleyballs because that's what we want to get good at. Same as we play volleyball because that's what we want to get good at. We don't play so much football in ToppVolley, for example, even though it's fun. So it was like it's a very like specific school because you do what you want to get good at all the time. But we also, of course, need to get good handling, and we had warm-up games with only our foots and head and no hands. And it's not like only volleyball, but that's our focus. So why not focus on it in practice also?
So there might be sometimes I've seen Mål and Sorum, they tend to joke around with the ball.
For sure.
Whatever. So it might come from the school even.
Maybe.
Maybe. If there's warm-up games with only feet and heads, then that makes sense. And did you ever do like only left arm stuff?
Only left arm stuff. Yeah. I remember, of course, we'd done everything. It was some drills where you could jump and hit with the left arm, and you can stand and hit with the right arm. It was a warm-up drill from just to, I don't know, maybe keep the ball alive a bit more than if everyone could just kill and jump with the right hand. In a warm-up game.
That makes sense. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, it was fun.
Standing game, if you hit with your right, and you can jump and hit with your left.
Yeah. And because when you hit with your left, you don't know what's coming. It can be like straight down. Someone were hitting really good. Someone were like, woo.
Yeah.
The other side.
Absolutely. That's a funny one. That makes sense. We played some small court, only left arm touches. So you would receive, you would set, attack, everything with your left. And It was interesting. Actually, after we did a couple of sessions of that, so total 3 hours of playing with only my left arm, which also means that you only use the left arm sometimes in situations where you would normally absolutely use your right arm. But I found myself instinctually go for defense with my left arm since that.
Yeah, that's good.
At times when I would turn my body and go with the right. So
I think that's good. My Brazilian coach in Kristiansand, it's very important that you don't go with your other hand when it's better to use your left arm. So and we would always get like punished if we used our wrong hand. And everyone, if someone saw you at practice doing wrong hand, if you're running up a cut and you use this hand to get it up, then everyone would say wrong hand, and then the coach would come and we stopped the practice, and it was like you had to do like 6 running and then hit the ball, and if you didn't hit it in the court, you had to do it again.
Okay.
It was very funny.
Nice. Yeah, that makes sense. Was there more takeaways from playing with a bunch of different partners than what we talked about, the flexibility, adaptability, being a good partner?
I don't know. It's just a good thing to do, because you will play with different people throughout your life.
Absolutely. And
it's funny. But at some point, if you want to get really serious, you need to have one partner. Yeah. Or I guess so. That is the way to go. So it's a good start, and it's good to get a great volleyball player. Yeah. And get the opportunity to get one really good partner.
Yeah. Now that does make me curious. This is how I work when I interview. I ask and then I come up with something. Did they ever teach you about like how to handle a partnership long term? Like how to get even better at this? Not just the first day of strategy, like how do we beat these with whatever we got dealt with today, but like how to think more long term with your partner that you're committed to.
That's a good question. I don't really remember them talking so much about that part. Maybe
you have to call Anders and Christian and ask.
Yeah, maybe you have to ask these guys. I'm not sure. I will not say that they didn't say anything about it, because probably they did, but I can't remember. It's not something sticking in my head that they said. Yeah. To be honest. Long-term partnership.
At the same time, I think a lot of the similar ideas that work for quickly adapting, like also will work. Like be open-minded, communicate.
Yeah, for sure.
Ask what the person needs.
Yeah. It was a big takeaway to be a good partner. Yeah, that was like very important.
And you had the social aspect of the whole school experience. You had to be good friends with people. Like in a sense, you guys got trained in a long-term partnership by just being at school and practicing with the same people for 3 years.
Yeah, it's a weird, or it's not weird, but it's a special dynamic when you have your best friends, but also your rivals, living together, training together, competing against each other. We play at the same ToppVolley elite team, but in our local teams we play in a championship final against each other. Yeah. And we are partners in this situation, and we are rivals in this situation. We are best friends in the dorms, and in training we are competing to win in the practice. Yeah. So it's a very special dynamic, I would say. Everyone is wanting to win. Yeah. Always.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's interesting. One question I wrote down here is technical, strategical things that you learn at ToppVolley that you believe are seldom taught anywhere else.
That I don't think get taught anywhere else.
Yeah, and of course I wrote here if they're secrets, then we don't need to talk about them. But
so I think that the first thing that comes to mind is I don't know what's get taught anywhere else.
That's a good point.
It's not that easy to say.
And you only had 6 months to in the real world, so you haven't seen
else. No, I think maybe it's really important to be precise in the first ball. That's a big thing in reception and in free balls and in defense. If we can get the first ball high in the middle, then we can do everything, kind of. That's for beach and indoor. If we are precise in our free ball indoor, then we can run every attack. If we are good reception, then maybe we can start hitting on second ball in beach, and we can go quick tempo, or we just get more overview of what's going on. So there was definitely a lot of repetition in serve reception, defense high in the middle, but it's hard to say one thing because we worked on everything. We had drills for almost everything you can imagine in volleyball, because we had 20 hours a week for 3 years. But I think that's maybe one of the things I would say was the most important, is the importance of being like doing the first ball, really try hard, like that is the most important thing you do, because if you mess up the first ball, you set yourself up for failure in the set and in the attack. I think that's something we really trained on, and I don't know if that's a important thing everywhere.
Maybe not.
Maybe it is. I guess it is because it's common sense. But that was like a no-brainer. We had to work for a good first contact, and then we could try to go for the hard hit, and then we could go for like setting fast balls and jump set and wherever, you know. But,
did you guys practice jump setting? Did you become inspired by the Swedes?
I think.
I guess you went to the school during the times. During the time that the Swedes started jump setting on the World Tour.
So of course we. I remember the coach were talking about watching a junior European Championship or something, and we need to be a part of the evolving of the game. And they didn't talk specifically about the Swedes, but that young teams are starting to hit a lot on second balls, especially. And jump setting is a part of it, and we worked on it.
Cool. Nice. It's fun to see in Sweden. You go and watch the kids happen to play together, and they're jump setting.
I guess everyone is jumping in Sweden now.
It's fun to see.
It's hard to say how the future will be in terms of the jump setting but I guess it's come to stay, especially in the youth. Like if you see the youth championships, world championships, European championships, people are hitting a lot more on second ball and jump setting than before. That's my observation.
I think so too. I think so too. It's it's like the mind virus has been planted that this is possible. And
why not?
Even if people don't implement it fully, you can still add some parts of it. Like when it's easy, put up a second ball. If you have a free ball
or anything, you know. It's a good tool to have in your toolbox. That is also a thing we were taught at ToppVolley. You need to have as many tools in your toolbox as possible, so that when you're in a situation where you get blocked on the line 3 times and you don't know, or you get blocked and you don't know where to go, you have a tool. You can go high hands, or you can go block out, or you can go rainbow, or you know, if you have every solution, then you are more free to play, and you need to have every tool to be able to play at a high level. If you only have sharp angle and high line, then someone will take you. Eventually.
I noticed when we played, you talked about that if I set you too close, you're going to try to recycle the ball just by putting in the block, and then we pick it up again. And the first time I really heard someone mention that, like specifically, and really talk a lot about it, was on the Norwegian volleyball podcast, Side Out.
Okay, yeah.
So I don't know. I guess those guys have also gone to ToppVolley.
Yeah, Lars Fredrik Tvinda, I think.
Yeah. Did you guys practice recycling?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I love it.
Do you have any tips, thoughts? It's a part of the game that it's like one of those details that I haven't, that is on my to-do list that I haven't gotten to yet. Like I want to learn it, but I haven't yet spent the time to try to do that.
I think it makes sense because especially indoor volleyball, the block is such a big part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
You have 3 block players, especially if there's a high set, you know you will have 3 block players in front of you. The chance of you get blocked is pretty big.
Mm-hmm.
And if no one is like covering you, then you will be passive or you will be stupid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, coverage is like getting a second chance.
Yeah.
To kill the ball, and it's like a no-brainer that you should do it. For us, it's I don't know. We practiced a lot. We had the coverage practice, and we had if you don't get the set, then you always have a next thing to do when you play volleyball. It's not like, okay, I didn't get the set, then okay, I can rest now. It's like, okay, I didn't get the set. Where is the ball? What is happening? Okay, I cover the middle, or I cover the outside.
Yeah, in indoor volleyball.
In indoor.
Yeah.
And also, but the same thing in beach volleyball. After I set, I look at the other side. I am helping my partner. Where should he go? What could be a tips? Mm-hmm. And I cover him.
Yeah.
And I say I can give him tips, or I just stay close and try to get a ball out.
So if you're the attacking person and your partner set you too tightly on the net and there's a big block, is there something is there like a time when you decide, okay, I'm not gonna attack, I'm gonna try to recycle?
Yeah, for sure. If I know that I'm playing a 2-meter guy,
mm-hmm.
and you set me real close, and I'm in no position to win the ball, he's over the net.
Yeah.
It's really stupid to just be like, okay, I'm gonna go all in, because you're gonna get blocked. Then it's better to get another set or another chance to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So then you just either you go, like hit the ball in the block and it comes high up, or you poke it up. Mm-hmm. You can even cover it yourself.
Yeah.
And you get and you can set it on the first ball to the other guy, or.
Do you still try to sell with your approach that you're about to hit it hard? Or do you not care about that so much?
I guess so. I guess so, but that's not so important. If the block is there, then it's there. But I guess
they're not gonna want to not be there.
Yeah, you want always to have a good approach to make sure that the block is there, or that the other side. But that's not the most important thing here. I think it's to communicate to your partner that I will not go for it. I will. If you set me too tight, then you need to be ready. Mm-hmm. That I might try to recycle the ball, because if you're not ready and I'm recycling, then it's just a stupid block. Just looks stupid.
Did you do any drills of this without having a huge blocker on the other side?
We used plates and everything.
Plates and everything,
Yeah.
Just poke it into it and pick it up again.
Yeah, we had tons of blocking drills and coverage drills and.
Yeah, with different types of tools.
Yeah.
Cool. That makes sense. I'm gonna do that.
It's like, why not?
Yeah.
You're gonna meet tall blockers and they're gonna block you, and what do you do when you get blocked? Normally you just get blocked and you lose the point, but what if you can just cover it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Then the blocker loses its power.
For sure. I have 2 more questions here.
Yeah.
That are more personally about you as a player. Or, well, I don't know, kind of the same topic. Top 3 things that you learned in the school, I guess, or can also be outside of the school, that you think developed you most as a player.
Top 3 things. Okay, the first thing I think about is the self-responsibility. Like, I have to make a good morning routine, and I have to discipline myself to become an athlete. I cannot just show up to practice and rely on the coach training me and then I will get good. It doesn't work like that. I need to put the effort in practice. And it's a combination of the other players are playing me good, but I also need to put in the effort that I'm actually getting taught something. So many things you learn. It's you experience that if you don't sleep enough, for example.
Absolutely.
That's one big thing. And if you eat too much before practice, it's like so many things like that you learn. But three of the biggest things.
It's a tough question. I put you on the spot because this is one of the types of questions that I should have given you before.
Maybe, but I guess it's there is an answer. I would say it's what is the best? What is the most important thing I learned from ToppVolley?
Yeah, or otherwise. Sort of biggest breakthrough for you as a player, I guess.
Biggest breakthrough as a player?
You could reframe the question in that way.
Okay.
Does that make it easier?
I think so, then I can go more specific.
Absolutely, you can go as specific as you want.
Yeah, I worked a lot of reception.
Yeah.
I played libero also in the elite team for a while. And then I took away my pride, even though I was a third grader and I was 190. And I got good at reception and defense. And that I implemented to the beach volleyball.
Okay.
And that was like, okay, I put time, and also when I broke my fingers, I just put time, okay, I will get really good in reception, because then I can always get a good set and then I will get better at attack. So that was a very good thing for me.
You got better at reception by doing a lot of serve receive, or by doing?
By playing libero.
By playing libero, okay.
I think so.
In indoor?
In indoor, yeah, and also playing defensive player because of my broken fingers. I had to always play defensive player for a while in third class. So I just worked a lot on my first ball, basically.
Yeah. Do you find that the indoor ball is tougher to receive than the beach? Because it's harder?
It moves differently.
Okay.
I think so. And
so not necessarily because the ball is different and more pumped harder?
No.
Okay.
I don't think it's that. I think it's the movement of the float serve.
Okay.
That is the tricky part, because it moves way and it goes higher, and it's a completely different float serve, I would say. Beach volleyball, and even if you get a hand on the float serve in the beach volleyball, then it goes up. But if you get a hand on the hard float serve indoor, it can go straight down and far away.
Yeah.
It's so hard and sensitive. And beach volleyball is more soft, and it's kind of a game of reaching the ball and then you will somehow get it up.
Yeah.
But in indoor, it's like, if you're not like really there and getting your angle to the setter and everything, then the ball is not going where you want it, and then you're fucked.
Yeah.
So the first ball, reception, other things, the discipline, and one more thing. I watched a lot of video. Maybe that's something I can say. I film. I'm the guy with the camera.
Okay.
Everyone knew it. I was there filming almost every practice, and I have edits from almost every Thursday tournament.
Okay.
Like short highlights. What did I do? And did these highlights improve over the years? And it did. And then I could see like, okay, I'm not aggressive enough, or I'm doing this type of mistake. And I'm not moving. They always serve me long. Okay, so I need to stand more behind, or maybe I need to get better at like turning and receive.
Yeah.
So I could see what the other guys had as a strategy to me and just work on that, and then they couldn't do it anymore because I was good at it. So I think that's also a good learning, just to record like the entire journey, because then you can know, you see the progression and you know what to do against opponents. You see even what they block against you. That's like maybe
that's true.
Too specific, but if they always block line, why not just crank it hard?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. If someone thinks it's boring to record and organize videos, what do you say to them?
Yeah, no, just start it. And also you can see that the training is working, or you can see that it doesn't work. You know, it's a very like humbling experience when you see footage from yourself 1 year apart, and it's like, oh, did I really not improve my setting, or did I really not improve this, or am I still doing this stupid thing after I set? You know, and I've never covered. You can like catch yourself. Yeah,
that's true. That's true. It's fun to have. I also have a lot of video of myself throughout the years, and it's fun to be able to go and look back at it.
Yeah, I agree.
It's interesting. The second question I had here was, I sort of think we have already talked about it. What do you think are some of the most important skills for a beach volleyball player? I think we might have talked about this already.
I think so too. It's nothing new. I don't think there's like today I wake up and I found out, oh, this is the most important. I think it's, you need to be a good teammate, you need to have a strong side out, and you need to be calm when you play, have a good ball control, be flexible and able to help your partner in difficult situations, and also have all the tools in the toolbox to get out of a tricky situation. We played yesterday against a German who jumped like really, really high, and he blocked like crazy. But we found ways to go around him and over him and serve him tough. And then we got like an opening, and we can pull on him, and so I think it's getting experience, having tools, ball control, being a good partner.
Yeah, makes sense. That's a good summary.
Those four, maybe the most important.
Yeah. The ToppVolley school, can non-Norwegians go to it? Probably not.
I don't think so.
No?
I'm gonna be really careful here.
Yeah.
Maybe check it out.
Yeah.
Send a message to ToppVolley. We have an Instagram account, ToppVolley Norway. Just ask questions. I think
there's someone in there answering.
Yeah, there's someone answering there. I used to be the one.
Okay.
Answering a lot of on the social media, and now there's some other people.
Yeah.
Just ask questions and you will get some answers.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Now that you know, at least have some experience of what it's like to be on this podcast.
Yeah.
Who would you enjoy listening to being interviewed on the Learn Beach Volleyball Fast podcast?
Who I enjoyed?
Who would you enjoy? If you could choose any guest, your dream guest that I would interview, who would that be?
Øyvind Marvik.
The founder of ToppVolley.
The founder of ToppVolley.
Yes.
I would want to hear him talk about. I love to hear him talk, and in this kind of situation, I think it would be very interesting.
Yeah.
He has so many good ideas, and he's a very wise man.
Yeah.
So I think he will.
This is the guy with the vision.
That's the guy. If you want to learn about ToppVolley, he's the complete.
Do you know if he started the whole thing by himself, or there was like how many other people didn't he need to involve, or was he just like, I'm gonna start this thing?
I guess it was.
And it's gonna be like nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds crazy, and also it's in the middle of nowhere. It's like in a small fjord town.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice of place.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and he lives there, so he's.
Okay.
And he has family there and everything. It's perfect for him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think so. Check it out. Also, I don't want to say anything wrong. Don't get credit to someone, but I know that there's some really good like economy that is backing the project. Okay. That's really important. Yeah, Statkraft. It's like energy company that's supporting ToppVolley. Yeah. So I guess they are very involved. Yeah. But I think it's Øyvind Marvik who would take the most of the credit. Yeah. It's been many coaches, and Kåre Mohl has been part of it, and Jetman, and many names have been a part of ToppVolley for a long time. And also like legendary teachers been there since the beginning. But I think Øyvind Marvik is the one, if you would say one. He's like the origin of the whole thing.
The original founder, yeah. So yeah, I think this has been a great, I don't know how long we've been going on for.
Me neither.
For a while, for sure.
Yeah.
Is there something you wish we would have talked about that we haven't? You're gonna get to share your Instagram or whatever, where people can follow you. But other than that, is there any topics that you feel that we should have talked about that we missed?
I think we covered ToppVolley very good. Yeah. I also think that it's hard to describe the place with only words, and if you want to see how it looks and like videos, Beach Volley Vikings made good video like about the entire thing.
They did. And also you have a YouTube channel. Do you have videos from the school?
I have videos from the like daily life and like a normal day at ToppVolley.
Okay.
And weekends.
So the question I asked you before, what is a normal day? You already have a video.
I already have video of it. But okay. So if you want to check it out, it's from second class, first class, third class trips and everything.
So I for sure need to put those in the description of the episode.
You might need to.
In combination with the Vikings video.
Yeah, it would be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice. Where do people follow you if they feel like doing that? Instagram, YouTube?
Instagram, YouTube. That's my main channels, I think.
And you said you have a last name that people cannot.
Yeah, I think you should write it.
I think there's a way. Let's do this. It's Leon.
Yeah.
And the second name it's dot. And what is the second one in Norwegian?
In Norwegian, Saltbones.
Yes, so this is Saltbones.
You could say Saltbones. I will never say Saltbones myself. But I guess if you're not Norwegian, you would say it.
Yes, because it means something completely different.
It doesn't make sense.
But it's spelled the same way as Saltbones.
Yeah, Leon.saltbones.Lauvland. It's
this one is going to be difficult for real.
I think it's going to be difficult.
I think I think if people search for Leon.saltbones on Instagram, I think the rest will show up.
Yeah, it's gonna
my guess. Also, I can link it in the. I can link it in the description. Nice. I'm definitely. I can notice I'm getting tired here.
Yeah. We're.
But this was fun.
Yeah, it was really fun.
I definitely learned and got some new ideas. I hope you did too.
Yeah. It was really good.
The listeners did. And if you found this episode valuable, feel free to share it to others. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, podcast,
do it.
YouTube channel, podcast, Instagram.
Do
it. This project grows by people sharing it, and the more the project grows, the easier it becomes for me to create this type of content for you guys. So
yeah,
it's I think it's a win-win.
It's a win-win.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Practice tomorrow.
Practice tomorrow morning.
Let's get to sleep.
Let's do it.